Hey everybody, welcome back to CALLOUS Draft League. This is the matchup in Week 4 between Purple Team, represented here by Manchild as Big Hungry Worm, and the Green Team, represented by 48 as whatever that says. I know it means 48, but I can't pronounce it because it's French. So, this might be the highlight, at least the highlight that I'll be covering of the round, because, we are seeing other 3-0 players in action, but both of these players are 3-0, so they are both putting their win streak on the line. So not only is the winner here going to get 2 points, but the loser would have gotten 2 points, loses that, and then loses the ability to regain the potential to go on a 3-game win streak within the regular season, because it's only 6 weeks and there just isn't enough time left. So big point swing incoming here one way or another. Green team doesn't really need the help. They're already in first place, but certainly a green victory would put them pretty far in first place, would kind of start putting them out of reach, and it would be pretty tough if green were to even go 500 this week to envision them not making playoffs somehow. They have 3 3-0 players right now, 2 of whom are in this draft, and they're going to get covered. Manchild and his purple team very much in playoff contention. One of those teams tangled up fighting for second place right now. His 3-0 streak very relevant for them as well. As always, if you want to see how we got here, there is a link to the draft with full commentary in the description, or if you just want to ignore me because it's like an hour-long video, you can click that link and just skip to the end and see a visual of what the draft was. Either or. Without further ado, reminding you that the team draft format is a best of 1. So this is the only game we're getting. Here is the game between Manchild and 48. Manchild on the bottom, leading Crobat. That should scare away the Medicham, but I criticized the Crobat pick at the time, and this is why. It's because it absolutely cannot break through Skarmory. Now, granted, there were 3 pokes that I didn't like from Manchild, and by the nature of the format, you're bringing a team of 6, you drafted 8. Even if he listened to me exactly, which no one ever does, but even if he did, he would have to bring at least one of those 3 pokes that I really didn't like in the matchup. One of them was the Crobat, and this Raikou is like the poke, the number 1 poke that I do like in the matchup, and I think it is the best hope for Manchild of winning, even though I favor 48 overall in the matchup. So the Crobat, if you're forced to bring it, you might as well do something like what he's doing. He baited out the Skarm because it's such an obvious Crobat switch. He thiefed it, which I don't blame 48 for not playing around. Maybe in hindsight he should have checked first with like Armaldo or something, but that's pretty revisionist history. It's pretty hindsight 2020 there. I don't think most people would have played around Thief. And then in addition to the Thief, he also taunted the Skarm. So yeah, we're looking at Taunt, Thief, Crobat. We're looking at Refresh Doll here. His team, no matter what, is not great against the Skarm, but he's really trying. He's trying to load up against it the best that he can. And unsurprisingly, honestly, Manchild did not end up bringing the Snorlax, which is kind of what I suspected would be the case. And seriously, look at the team on the other side. Fighter, Skarmory, normal resist that counters it, Leech Seed user, and Gengar. The Lax would have been garbage. There is a trade via Boom there, so Claydol going down is actually pretty relevant. That kind of unlocks the Skarm again. Reflect, I think, is a good tech here for Manchild. I think that's going to be very helpful in a world where strictly physical Medicham, Armaldo, and Tauros are on the other side. So definitely support the decision to bust out Reflect. I think that's wise, and I think that's going to be really valuable for him throughout the match. But like I said, and good Toxic there for 48 rather than spiking again as many people would have done. That is a failed Protect turn, however, for 48. But like I said, I think that the Claydol specifically, being what goes down to the Boom, is relevant because any spikes that go down are going to stay down. And in fact, the entire team, other than Crobat, is grounded. Now, I'm not sure why 48 actually went for that Protect a couple turns ago. Maybe he forgot that he doesn't have lefties anymore, but he really has nothing to gain. If you protect successfully, you're no better off than you were, but if you full para, then it's just a free turn for the opponent. So maybe you shouldn't be doing that. But there are more pressing issues here as the Celebi attempts to deal with Medicham behind a sub. He also seemingly has made a point to outspeed the Medicham, so I think Manchild brought the right Celebi set here. Faster than Medicham and Reflect seems very much like what he needs for the matchup. This is actually closer than I was thinking it might be. Like I said, I thought 48 had the better matchup, even though his overall team is not fantastic. Pretty squishy, honestly. But yeah, the Raikou in particular is really a threat, I think. I mean, look on the other side. What does 48 have that wants to switch into it? Kind of sort of the Sceptile, but it was already only at half. It just took a little more chip from the Vaporeon. I can absolutely see the possibility here of the Raikou getting the win, but at the same time, he did go for that greedy extra substitute earlier and then took additional damage that he maybe couldn't afford to take. He's at 63 with us spiked down at the moment. It's going to be close. Finding opportunities to get it in is going to be a challenge for Manchild as well. Regirock here a threat to Armaldo. It is in fact Rock Week. However, Medicham is a Rock Resist. Not a good one, but any Rock Resist works in this position. Comes into Rock Slide, comes back with Brick Break. That won't do it. We know he's got Shadow Ball, but we also know that Celebi has Reflect, which he doesn't go for there. He actually just went for Recover. Looking like we're going to fodder the Vaporeon, so the lead goes back to 48. And Regirock comes in again. Medicham, seemingly no lefties here, so there's only so many times it can come in on anything, even if it is a resisted Rock Slide. But one way to solve that problem is by avoiding the Rock Slide. So there you go. Nevertheless, Armaldo comes in, as does Crobat briefly, but we end up back on this matchup. EQ landing on the Regirock there, 31% awkward, because it leaves him at 33, so he may or may not live another, but now he's going to rest, and he gets out of the way of a poke that he knows has stabbed Brick Break. That being said, 48 anticipates the Celebi switch, clicks Shadow Ball, but Reflect is going to get up. See if he wants to recover into an Armaldo with stab HP bug that he's 4x weak to. He does have Reflect, so yeah, I guess he feels comfortable doing it. And Celebi back to a hundo yet again. Skarmory is starting to get low finally, but it's another spike opportunity. I hate the Toxic there. That was maybe an absolute precautionary measure. Terrified of the Raikou. But you're missing opportunities to spike up, and it really could matter if this game goes too long. I'm not thinking this is a 150 turn marathon here, but this has potential to go a little bit on the longer side. So it's Rest Talk Regirock, which we haven't seen a lot of, and of course the moves that it can find are this T-Wave, which is good, and Rock Slide, which is good as well. But after getting the T-Wave off on the Armaldo, it's going to bite the dust, as said by Queen. Another one bites the dust. Straight for T-Bolt is interesting. I think I would have subbed there and tried to fish for full power. As you were against a paralyzed poke, if you sub there, not only does it give you the out of full power if he stays in, but it also covers switch. I think he's going to regret not subbing there. I think that was a major missed opportunity. But the lead remains for 48. 4-2 situation now. Armaldo looks like he's about to be foddered. Makes that a 3-2. Now Tauros. Raikou's going to come in. Wow, that's not the late game line I was anticipating, but he's actually just going to go all in on the Celebi, and it does have a shot here, honestly. As I say that, never mind. Insta-crit with the return, and down goes the Celebi. That was obviously going to be a Reflect turn, followed by a Recover. But the issue with screens in general, and I don't just mean because it happened in this moment, just generally speaking, in OU or any other time that you want to use screens, the issue is exactly what you just saw. It is a passive gameplay style, and you are relying on giving your opponent multiple opportunities to critical hit, and you have to hope that they just never come. But indeed, the suspense and the climax in what could have been a pretty exciting late game instantly deflated when he finds the crit immediately. Like I said, it wouldn't have been just here. He would have had a lot of opportunities. If the crit doesn't happen there, okay, Reflect. Now Tauros gets Another opportunity, a crit would end the game there. Celebi clicks recover, fine. Toro stays in, click return again. Another opportunity to end the game there, and so on and so forth. So it wasn't just going to be this turn. The Celebi was going to have to avoid several turns, 5, 6 turns, whatever, of crits. But the odds were not terrible that the Celebi managed to do so. And if it were to avoid those crits, definitely a thing that can happen, then it would have been a Manchild victory. So this really did end up being closer than I thought. In the draft, I really thought that 48 had the edge all along, and I guess technically my prediction is correct, and 48 did win, but it didn't necessarily play out the way that I thought it would. I do agree with not bringing the lax. It really, looking at the team that 48 brought, seems like it would have been terrible in this matchup. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that 48's team was good, but something that the great Tamahome, one of the all-time best ADVers and certainly one of the all-time best SPLers, something that he said to me when I was on his team in my very first SPL, and this has stuck with me ever since all these years later. He said, it doesn't matter if you have a good team. You don't need a good team. You need the right team. And that's really stuck with me the whole time since then. And I think this is a great example of that. On paper, 48's team is garbage. You would never ladder with this. You wouldn't even want it against a random draft opponent. This team stinks and has no special wall and lacks key resistances and so on and so forth. But as far as being set up to be punishing for what Manchild drafted, it's pretty good. The Tauros is an issue. The Medicham is an issue. The Lax is completely neutralized. It's the beauty of this format. There really is a complexity and a nuance and a back and forth counter picky dynamic to it. And I think that this game, even though it kind of ended on an anticlimactic note, I think that this game is a good representative example of what I intended for this format to be. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, but the overall result here is that 48 is the winner. He's going to continue his win streak and get another bonus point for his team. Manchild going to drop his win streak. Purple still super duper very much in the mix for a playoff spot, but green is now the runaway favorite to get that 1 seed and that bye. There's still almost 3 full weeks of tournament to play, so let's not count our chickens, but that's how it sits right now. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this game and have been enjoying the tournament. Please show me that you did with the like button and with those comments. They're all wonderful. I super duper read them all. I take them to heart. I go to work and I tell everybody, guys, look what this guy on YouTube wrote. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Doesn't that warm your heart? It's a big part of my day. Appreciate you guys. I will see you in the next video.